This is our very own 2023 Toyota Sienna Platinum. The Sienna has long been known as the class-leading minivan, and for very good reasons too. It's spacious, reliable, and all-wheel drive. But what made us choose the Sienna over the tough competitors? That's what we're going to find out in today's video. Minivans have never been regarded as very stylish vehicles, but Toyota has tried harder than any of the competitors, earning this Sienna the Swagger Wagon nickname. Now speaking of styling, we have a mostly blacked out grille design, we have chrome by the headlights, and most of this will be non-functional. Now we do have this functional piece at the bottom, which is a honeycomb design. Moving on to the headlights, these will be fully LED on the Sienna Platinum with an exclusive headlight design. You also get fog lights at the bottom and an LED blinker. Moving on to wheels, choosing all-wheel drive will automatically downgrade you to these 18-inch alloy wheels. If you want a more comfortable ride, then choose front-wheel drive, which will give you 20s. Now let's move on to the side profile. Our Sienna has the optional body side moldings, which will keep this car safe in the parking lots, and you also get chrome that runs along the top of the windows. Coming to mirrors, these will be fully loaded, including heating, blind spot monitoring, auto dimming, and power folding. Moving on to the back, there isn't really much going on here if you think about it. We have an exposed rear wiper for 2023, we also have Sienna branding across the back and some black trim at the bottom. Moving on to the taillights, these will be mostly incandescent with an LED brake light, an incandescent reverse lights, and an incandescent blinker. Now let's move on to the interior. The interior is a big priority for a minivan because you need extra versatility and space. Let's start with the door panel. We have mostly soft touch material at the top, 2-person memory seats, all of your switchgear, leather on your armrest, and a ton of storage down below. Now on this tester we do have the protected door sills, and the seats will be real leather, and you have a platinum exclusive noble brown color. These will also be 10-way power adjustable. Now today we have the all-weather floor liners, which is kind of dirty on this rainy day, but let's hop in. Getting in is really easy because this is only 6 inches off the ground, and that would be great for kids. Starting with the steering wheel, we have a nicely leather-wrapped heated steering wheel, and I really like the perforation on the sides. Now, for the gauge clusters, this does look a little bit outdated. We have 2 analog gauge clusters with a digital display in the center, which is fine, but does seem a little bit outdated compared to the Carnival, which has the fully digital display. Now, this is customizable with these arrows on the left here. You can just scroll through all of your stuff, and that is pretty nice to have. We do have a head-up display on this top Platinum model, and moving on to materials, this is the Platinum model, as I have said multiple times, so I do expect more. You have soft touch material along the top, aluminum down here, leatherette, and some fake wood that makes it look a lot more tasteful. We also will have gloss black around the shifter, which is only a dust and fingerprint magnet. Moving on to storage, I think the Sienna is now famous for the amount of storage that it has. You have a bunch of space up here, 18 cup holders throughout the whole cabin, a super deep center console, a little bit more storage here with 2 cup holders, and a humongous center pass-through down here with a little power outlet. This is amazing to have in a minivan, and I think Toyota did a great job laying out the space in this car. Now let's move on to the climate controls and infotainment system. I'm very happy to say that Toyota kept the physical climate controls, unlike the Carnival and other cars. Now let's move on to the climate controls and infotainment system. I'm very happy to say that Toyota kept the physical buttons and knobs, unlike some other cars. You have 3 stages of heated seats, 3 stages of ventilated seats, and a dual zone climate control up here. You see you can just power it on by clicking the fan button, and you can control all of your temperature with these two toggles right there. You also will have automatic modes, and you can turn on the AC with that button right there. Now, for the infotainment system, this is the old one, the Entune 3.0 system. I'm not happy to see this in a 2023 Toyota, but whenever they do refresh this car, they will be giving it the newest audio multimedia system. Now, this does have wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You plug in the cord right here, and you will also have a 360-degree backup camera. Now, this is not the best resolution. You see, I think it took a step down from last year's model, but you can still see things okay. You have 360 view, so this is a larger car, so I think you can have a better time parking it. Moving on to the shifter, you see it's the same old lever. It's huge, but I think it's a great choice from Toyota. This is so big that it's so easy to grab. You just reach over and grab it, and I think it's super easy and nice to use. Now up top here, we do have a normal mirror, a rear camera mirror, and you have another mirror to keep an eye on the kids. You also will have a moonroof up here that can open and close. Moving on to the passenger side, this still is an amazing place to be even if you are not the driver. You get a lot of storage and some nice comforts. Starting with the door panel, it is basically the same as the driver's side. You get the soft touch plastic along the top, the leather and the fake wood trim, and all of your storage down below. Now we do have the same perforated leather seats in the Noble Brown. However, it is only 4-way power adjusting instead of 10. Now getting inside is really easy. It's only 6 inches off the ground. And take a look at this. I have a lot of room even though the seat is not slid all the way back. And I also have the same leather right here. And I have storage down here with the 12 volts and a lot of storage right here. This can fit some food and even a full-sized phone. Now in the glove box you have a lot of storage space. It also has some plastic lining, but the outer part of the glove box is made of plastic. So it's easier to clean, but it looks kind of low quality and it gets scratched pretty easily. Now you have aluminum, some leather, and a second zone of climate control. Now taking a look at the second row, I didn't open these doors for a reason. You have so many different ways to open it. You can open it from the key fob, and you can even open it by kicking under here. But the key fob isn't in my pocket right now, so that's not going to work. Now you can also go to the upper console and open it right up here, but we're not going to do that for now, because there are even more ways. Of course, you can pull the handle, or you can use the black button. Now take a look at that. Getting in is really easy for smaller kids because you have 6 inches of ground clearance, and you also have this humongous handle that goes all the way down here. So even for smaller kids like my younger brother, he can just take that smaller handle and get in super easily. Now the seats will be the same perforated leather, and they will slide and recline. But they slide 25 inches, so you can have so many different possibilities of what you can do with these second row seats. You even get ottomans, so you can slide the seat all the way back and stretch out on longer trips. Now sitting inside, you get these really comfortable leather seats, and I have to tell you many times, these seats are very, very comfortable. I get a lot of legroom and a pretty big seat back pocket. I can fit hand sanitizer, barf bags, and even a pretty big book. Now down here we have cup holders, a little storage space behind that, an HDMI socket for the entertainment package, and another household style outlet. You get a bag hook, 2 charging ports, and we also get 4 zones of climate control. This is class exclusive, and you even have controls for your heated seats. Now this is something you only see on super expensive cars like over 100,000. In addition to this, you have manual sunshades, and that makes for an amazing second row. Now moving on to the third row, I am very happy that Toyota kept the captain's chairs for this top platinum model. Now, you can get in very easily. You just go right through the middle like I am about to do here, because sliding the seat forward and getting it out of the way is just not that simple. Now, this is a pretty big third row, and I'm pretty sure that it is class leading. Now take a look at the amount of room I have back here. This second row seat is slid almost all the way back, and you even have two cup holders down there if the second row passengers aren't using them. You also get cup holders on each side, but I am missing the compartment. But you do get two USB ports on the right side, but that isn't nice because you don't have it on the left side, so there might be a couple fights over that. Now you also get a third window sunshade. So you just pull that up, and it's very oddly shaped because of the oddly shaped window. So I'm glad they designed it in a way that will block out the sun the most. Now let's move on to the cargo area. This is one of the most important parts of a minivan, and if you saw my video on the 2020 Toyota Sienna, you might see that this doesn't have as much room. You have 33.5 cubic feet of cargo room, which is significantly less than the 2020. You do still have a humongous cubby right there, and the explanation for the missing trunk space is the fact that we have a hybrid powertrain. More on that later. You also will get seats that have the ability to fold down, and you just lift that over, and these seats are lighter than the 2020 Sienna, which is great. Now with that down, we have about 75 cubic feet of cargo room, and we can just lift that up and pull this up right here. What I don't understand is that the 2020 Toyota Sienna could also have seats that slid very long, not quite 25 inches, but these seats, you cannot remove them. Instead, you just have to slide them all the way forward for a maximum of 101 cubic feet, which is trailing the rest of the competition. Now let's move on to the powertrain. In the cargo area, I mentioned that we don't have as much trunk space because this is hybrid. Now let's take a look at this. This is a 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder engine, putting out 245 horsepower and 176 pound-feet of torque. Those are not good numbers, but this does get 36 miles per gallon combined, which is absolutely insane for a minivan. You can even go 600 miles without filling up the gas tank, which I don't recommend doing. Now, this is going to sacrifice a couple things like the trunk space, and you get a CVT transmission, which means that it will groan if you are flooring it. Now, I do prefer the V6 in the Odyssey. However, this is great for people that go on long trips very often. Now, this is one of the last minivans on the market, so competition is going to be pretty stiff, and most of the minivans are trying to compete to get all of the sales. So far, Toyota is doing it best because it's very hard to get your hands on a Sienna. However, the Kia Carnival has a pretty good price and some really cool features like heated and cooled second row seats and an optional power sliding second row seats. The Pacifica, of course, has the Still and Go feature, and the top Pinnacle trim level, which is a little bit over $60,000, has some nice Napa leather. Now, why I say most minivans are competing very nicely is because the Honda Odyssey is the most outdated minivan. You have very outdated tech, and it's kind of overpriced if you think about it. So that is why we choose the Sienna over the competition. Amazing hybrid powertrain and a lot of space for the whole family. Moving on to dimensions, the Sienna measures in at 204 inches in length and 78 inches in width. Well, that is going to wrap up today's review on our very own 2023 Toyota Sienna Platinum. We love this car, and we definitely appreciate the time that we got it. We had to take a couple road trips back and forth from Chicago, which took roughly about 4 hours, and the Sienna handled that amazingly. We are so thankful for the hybrid powertrain and all of the space that our Sienna has. Well, that is going to wrap up this review, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.